Hi, I'm Real Genetic Demon, and these are my 10 favourite arcade games. Okay, so we've got my favourite arcade games. They're kind of a mixture of nostalgia and faves, I think is the answer here. So we're going to start with the classic, and hopefully I'll put it up there. It is the classic arcade game Space Invaders. Now, obviously that was released in 1978, but I actually played it in 1979 in a sort of small rural pub stroke hotel in my sort of hometown, and it was at the time it was iconic. It was one of those things that I've never played anything like it. It was the first arcade game I've ever played, and it had that whole dum 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 noise. Brilliant stuff, absolutely fantastic. My second on my list is a game called Time Pilot. Now, Time Pilot I played in a theme park stroke I don't know what it was. It wasn't really a big theme park called Wicksteeds in a place called Kettering, and that was Time Pilot. And Time Pilot, again, footage up the top corner there, was a shoot 'em up that really grabbed my attention. I just liked the way that the joystick sort of rotated to make the directions go. There was something very positive about those kind of moves, that sort of rotation and that sort of tapping of the fire button, and the fact that you went through time periods and different things as you played. Really good and interesting at the time. So I've got to admit, Time Pilot's a big one for me. And then we have next something that is, I think, an all-time classic, Outrun. Outrun 1986. Outrun, the actual full-on sitting cab with the sort of gear stick lever down here, or you could swap up high and low, was something I'd never seen before. It was quite a phenomenally amazing game that kind of... I've not, I still love it to this day, and it still has that little quirk where when you drive to, I think it's to the right, the logo for the horse for the Ferrari rotates, turns around, because it was just a case of saving space. So the sprites just flip, and the horse flips around with it. You'll see it in the footage, hopefully, in the top corner there that's running. So that's my third choice. Now, my fourth choice is kind of more nostalgia than good, if that makes sense. It's Super PAC Man. Now, again, I played this when I was kind of down here somewhere, very small. I played Super PAC Man at a place called Woburn Abbey, which is again in the Midlands somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. And Woburn Abbey had a small arcade, few machines, not very much. And Super PAC Man was one that really grabbed me, because Pac Man gets big to eat and walk through walls, and then Pac Man gets small. It's not brilliant. It's not a very good game, if I'm absolutely honest with you. But it has a lot of nostalgia for me, because it was a game that I played and I quite enjoyed, and I had the high scores on it, and it was one of those things that I really liked doing. Next on my list is something more akin to a game that features later in my list, but was one that was kind of the last game I ever played in this arcade. Now, this is an arcade in my own town called Talk of the Town, and the game was Snow Brothers. It was basically a kind of clone of other games. You bubble up. You see, I'm even using the word terminology. You put them in little snowballs, and you push the snowballs around, and they kind of drop various items. One that makes your shot longer, one that makes your shot stronger, one that makes you go faster. And then every 10 levels, you get a big boss. I was obsessed by putting a single coin in and seeing how far I could go. You could continue by pushing more coins in, but I actually used to have all high score tables was me, and it was never further than about level 20, because level 20 was far enough to wipe out the high scores. So yeah, Snow Brothers is definitely on my list. And then the next one on my list is a game called Alien Storm. Now, this featured on the Mega Drive and a few other things. I don't know how many it featured on, but Alien Storm was one of my favourites, because it had a little beat 'em up section followed by a shoot 'em up section, something that the kind of was slightly different. It was 3 people on the same arcade machine at some point, and you could have the sort of 3 across there, and that was played at my local Hollywood Bowl. It was also where I played Mercs, which is basically my next one on my list, which is my 7th choice. Mercs I was very, very much obsessed with. I was down there pretty much every single day with sort of 20 or 40p single go just to play Mercs. Every single day I was down there playing Mercs. I'm not so good at it nowadays, which is a real shame, but I hadn't realised it was that I don't know what they call it, a Tate view for it, so it's more of a shoot 'em up than anything else. Again, you had to choose a different joystick to get a different character, so in the footage here you've got me using the first character because it's the only one that's available. It was re-released on the Mega Drive and it was on the Master System. It wasn't particularly good as a conversion for there, unfortunately. It was alright, it wasn't brilliant. But that leads into, because I was talking about with Snow Brothers, that leads into Bobble. Bobble, I didn't actually play in the arcade. I had all the home versions of it. We've just recently played it on the Arcade Challenge, and I hadn't realised how much and how influential that game is. I have played so many iterations of it, from the Master System to the Mega Drive to the Game Boy to the PC version to the Xbox 360 version, the remixed version. There have been so many things that I've played on those. So many games, also versions of Bobble that are there that are so good. It was a brilliant game and well worth playing and well worth your time. So my 9th choice. This is one of these games where I like shoot 'em ups, but I love shoot 'em ups, but I'm not very good at them. And Last Resort is an example of that. Last Resort was probably the first game I saw on a Neo Geo EAS. Yes, the entertainment system, the first sort of home version of the arcade version, because it was arcade perfect, and that was the first time I played Last Resort. It was the first game I played on the ES system, and I was delighted. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It looked brilliant. The graphics are great. It should be running the corner there, and the animations are amazing. So it's kind of a stunning game that's introduced me to the Neo Geo, a system, my dream system almost. And then the last one, again, was introduced to me purely brand new, never seen it before, by the Arcade Challenge that we do. And that's 1944, The Loop Master. It's a 2-player shoot 'em up, a kind of a follow-on from 1942, then that kind of the next iteration further on. A lot more advancements in the graphics, a lot more advancements in the planes and whatever else, a bit more futuristic almost. But it's absolutely stunning. It is a brilliant, brilliant game. Anyway, that's my top 10 of arcade, of my favourite arcade games. What's your top 10? And I would like to see some responses, hopefully. Anyway, I've been your host, Real Genetic Demon. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye now.